Welcome to Tip Tuesday. Today, we're talking overwhelm, that feeling of overwhelm that many of you experience on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to share a simple strategy with you that I utilize with all of my clients. I also implement this in my own life. Welcome. I'm Tracy Hensel. I'm a certified professional coach and ICF credential holder. I help people just like you create the life that you desire, whatever that looks like for you. This is in all areas, health and wellness, and all things to do with life and living a life where you thrive and feel a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. Yes, it can be done. It can be done. But one of the ways to achieve that is you have to overcome the sense of overwhelm that you're feeling on a day-to-day basis. We all experience overwhelm at times. Life's circumstances will create overwhelm in our life. When overwhelm is from an outside source, maybe you're going through a life transition that maybe is quite traumatic for you. You are going to experience overwhelm. If you have loss, you are going to experience overwhelm. All of these are short-term cases of overwhelm. We would call them more acute. Some of them may take longer to get through that sense of overwhelm, often depending on how much help you are getting from loved ones. But what I'm talking about is the day-to-day chronic overwhelm that so many people experience. If you've ever heard the phrase, "You don't want to bite off more than you can chew," that is a perfect phrase for describing overwhelm, because most often that is the case. Is most people have a tendency to bite off more than they can chew, meaning they believe they are going to get more done and check off more boxes than they actually are capable of doing, and therefore they feel overwhelmed because they're not achieving the ultimate goal, and that is to check off those boxes. Well, I've said many times before that everything is important, but not everything is urgent. And it's really identifying what are the urgents today. Now, you know that I believe in organizing next month, this month, planning next week, this week, organizing tomorrow, today. I prescribe to all of that because failing to plan is planning to fail. But when it comes to daily tasks, the daily boxes that we need to check off, we really need to know what's urgent, what cannot be moved. If a bill is due, it can't be moved, right? It can't be moved. If one of your kids has to bring a monetary donation to go towards a field trip and tomorrow's the deadline, well, it's an urgent task today, right? It's a small task, but it's urgent, and many don't check off that box because they're so overwhelmed with everything flooding their mind. The other thing to always remember is that this is not a computer. We are not capable to remember everything. We don't have storage. And wouldn't you want to fill the upstairs with beautiful thoughts or beautiful memories instead of thinking about what needs to get done, which is also going to create overwhelm? The most overwhelmed people that I work with are the ones that are trying to use this as their task list. It will fail them. It will fail them. Whatever tool you use, whether it's physical, meaning writing it out, pen to paper, or digital, using an app on your phone or your notes app, or using a laptop like I do, where I check my task list on a laptop because I'm looking at it all day long, and I would advise whatever you spend the most time with should be the tool that you use. Don't worry about what the neighbor's using or your girlfriend or your sister is using. It's always going to be what is in front of you most of the time. If a phone is in front of you most of the time, that's a great tool. For me, my laptop is in front of me more than my phone based on what I do for work. So that's the first thing that you really want to look at. But then you have to get out of your head anything that comes up for you that needs to be done. If you know when it needs to be done, go put it on that day or the day before in planning ahead, organizing tomorrow today. I have a workshop. If you haven't taken it, I'll have it linked in the description box below. One of my most watched or most resourced workshop is my Organize Tomorrow Today, Plan Next Week This Week. I also have a video where I talk and walk you through my task list. I'll have that video linked below as well as other videos that complement today's video. So how do we actually know what is urgent, Tracy? That's what I often hear because everything in my world is urgent. No, it's not. No, it's not. And even the small, what seem insignificant tasks can be urgent. Again, if you need to send money to school and tomorrow's the deadline, that is urgent today. If tomorrow is your child's day for soccer practice to bring snack for the entire team, that's going to be urgent today. That can't get pushed. So the urgents are responsibilities that cannot get pushed even if they are small. Even if they are small, this could be turning in something. This could be making a simple phone call. Those are still responsibilities, which are tasks, and they are of significance for today, and they are urgent today. So my real success in working with my clients is getting my clients to dial in on 3 urgents per day. That's the goal every day. What are my 3 urgents? And when you have that task list in front of you, you really need to move those urgents up to the top. Now, when I talk about responsibilities and identifying what needs to be a priority, that's your urgents, because we know it's all important. I'm not talking about dropping the kids off at school because you do that every single day. I'm not talking about the everyday responsibilities that you have, putting your lunch in the car, okay? Little things that you do on a daily basis aren't the extra urgents. We're talking about checking off the boxes that you may procrastinate, which that's a whole nother topic for a different video, or you're just not getting done because you're trying to remember it all. So first off, you have to get it somewhere. You have to brain dump it out of your head into the tool that serves you best, physical or digital, whichever serves you best. You have your task list in front of you. I would say the night before, so today, in Organizing Tomorrow Today, you're going to look at tomorrow and what is all on your plate tomorrow. And from that, and once you know your active roles, don't forget I have a video on active roles. If you're a wife, if you're a mom, if you work, if you're a caretaker for elderly parents, maybe you're on a committee, you have to really know your active roles because that will tell you how much time you have on a daily basis, and that's going to help you dial in on the urgents which cannot be moved. They take priority over everything else. So look at tomorrow. What is my day filled with? What is my calendar telling me, which is going to be telling you where your active roles. This is where you're active. It's a role that you play where you're active. Maybe one of your active roles, like mine, is being a grandma because you're very active and it requires your time. Checking off boxes most often requires our time. So you're going to look at tomorrow's calendar and you're going to see where you are taken. Your active roles have filled that. And in between those little chunks or blocks of time, all that matters is that you get your 3 urgents accomplished. If one of your urgents is to pick up the dry cleaning and that's it, that's significant for that day. Because what has been sitting at the dry cleaners for a couple of months, you may need to wear in a couple of days. Right? You may have a funeral to attend. It may be time to pick up that dry cleaning. It now becomes an urgent. So don't dismiss the little things because often that's what most people keep stored and they're only writing down the big things. Saying I'm going to organize the whole entire basement, that's a big task. I would never just put as an urgent organize whole basement. Number one, my active roles take too much of my time on a daily basis to take on such a mammoth project. So I'm going to break that down into chunks. If I have something coming up in 4 to 6 weeks and I'm hosting it, or I need my basement cleaned up and organized, well, I may make, let's say on Saturday, an urgent be just one simple area. Organize the party supply cabinet and purge. That's it. That's it. Because maybe I can do that in about 20 minutes, and that may be all that I have. So we have to let go of the big, hairy, audacious, pie-in-the-sky goals where we're biting off more than we can chew, right? And tune out the noise. There's a lot of, I should do this, I could do this. No, you can't. Because your active roles may be different. And you may be in a season in your life where your active roles require so much of your time. Maybe you have small children that rely on you for everything. They're dependent on you for everything. To prepare their food, to feed them, to wash them up, to clean their dishes. Clearly, you are in a season where your active role is taking a lot of your time. So keep your urgents very minimal. This may not be a season where you're going to get big mammoth projects done, and that's okay. So don't compare yourself to anyone else. Know your own active roles and know what time you're working with on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. This video is worth the rewatch. It's worth taking notes, and it's worth taking my Organize Tomorrow Today workshop, because it will complement and walk you through step by step. I share my screen, everything that I'm talking about today. Also be sure to check out some of the videos that I put in the video library that complement this video as well. I've talked about this before. The thing is, most people aren't resourcing old videos. So when I have video requests, they're on requests that I've covered the topic many times. I've covered this topic many times. It's just a refresher. So bookmark this somewhere so that you can go back and reference it to dial you in when you're trying to use your head and when you're forgetting that everything's important, but not everything's urgent. Lastly, for those of you that are registered and signed up for quarter 2 of 3-week Intense, which begins next Monday, April 10th. Tomorrow, you'll receive an email with the information video and all of your tools, as well as other links. If you're not signed up for 3-week Intense, which is a program that will complement everything that I'm sharing with you today, especially if diet and exercise always get pushed down. To me, those aren't on the urgents necessarily, because those are lifestyle habits. In 3-week Intense, I help you start to implement those as lifestyle habits so that they don't have to be one of those important tasks that you just don't get to. And we take into consideration the active roles that you have. So everyone's story is going to look different. I'm not going to go any more into 3-week Intense here. I have a couple of videos where I talk about it, and I also have a whole page on the Hensel Coaching and Consulting website specifically talking about the program. You do have to get registered before this Saturday the 8th, but get registered today so that you can get tomorrow's information meeting. If you miss that, you still will have an opportunity to jump on board and still get the information meeting sent to you. But registration closes this Saturday, April 8th, when I do the live Q&A. So hope to see you there. Again, this video is worth the rewatch, and thanks for being here.